And our intention today is to lift the spirits of our community. And all across Indian country, we're celebrating all the successes of our native students. And, there's successes in education right now. I work at Swinomish as the education director. Last few days, we've been celebrating all the way from our child care, preschool kids, all the way up to high school and college graduates. So this is the hardest time to be doing this work. And so we're coming together today just to ask you to pray for our communities. And again, our goal is to lift our spirits, but unfortunately, we're getting word of more bad news. That we just got word that there was another 104 children who were found in Manitoba, and so you know we are asking for your prayers, to be strong. And this is the only way we could do it, is to come together like this and try to um, comfort one another. Again, think of our young ones that are graduating and moving on to their next grades, and their relatives. These are they'd be their elders, who didn't make it home. And I'm sorry to deliver that bad news, but I wanted to say that up front because it just seems to get worse. So I want to start with just a moment of prayer in your own way, just um, a moment of silence, and in your own way, just pray or send your thoughts to these communities that are really struggling. Alcium. Alcium Nischelicha Danisitin. Um, we want to, again, come together to lift the spirits of our communities. Um, any community, tribal community you go to, you hear the stories of the elders who'd gone off to um, boarding schools, taken, and pain unmeasurable. And so today we're trying to do our best, Estitum Son. We're doing the best that we can to come together and comfort one another. And so we thank each and every one of you for stepping forward. We also want people to know that tomorrow we'll be having a day-long prayer, and you might have seen the tents being set up behind the canoe sheds here. Um, so tomorrow, please come and join us for another day of prayer. And we mentioned, I know some more folks have arrived, but we have a table back here to sign your name, and we'll be putting ribbons around trees that are being planted in memory of the 215, and now the new discovery, the 104. So we need those prayers to go along with those trees. Also, just thanking you for being here, and we also wanted to share that we're picked this time today to be in prayer with the home community, the Shuswap Nation, who are doing a prayer now as we speak, and they're praying for the young ones who are returning to their community from the residential school in Kamloops, the town of Kamloops, back to their home community. And I can only imagine how devastating that would be. I'll say, friends and relatives, we want to begin in a prayerful way, opening with song. And And we want to invite our relatives from Nooksack, Lawrence Bailey and his family, to come forward to share a song. I'll say 'em. I'll say I'm thank you to our relatives from Nooksack, Lawrence Bailey. Appreciate you coming forward today to share that song. And at this time, I'm gonna bring forward Kotstanat, Candace Wilson, Kotstanat.
Haishka Siam Nasjalacha Siam Kwanstanat Senasnat. Dear friends and relatives, our respected elders, and our veterans, it is with heartfelt emotions that we gather to recognize these atrocities that we as Indigenous people and First Nation experience from the landings, the gatherings. All we have ever wanted to be are friends. And for these federal Indian policies of termination to do away with who we are in these teachings, to eliminate us. And we are still here. I just cannot imagine what our relatives are going through. But I can, because I am a daughter, a granddaughter of survivors And my children and my grandchildren are survivors. And it is our responsibility and our obligation to take care of one another. Through difficult times, these teachable moments, these stories aren't nothing new to us, but it's very unveiling. And the fact that you heard about it and the fact that you are here, you have another responsibility to share these stories, to speak the truth, to learn the truth. And ask yourselves, what are you doing to make that difference? How are you educating others? We know what we go through. This is nothing new to us. But we will be here, standing with our relatives, standing with our families. It is the strength of our grandmothers and our grandfathers that got us here today, because we are strong, we are resilient, and we ain't going anywhere. We will always fight to protect our people and our land, our teachings and our traditions, regardless of any policy. But we all have that responsibility to do something, to speak up for injustices. Because you will speak for those that cannot speak for themselves. There's things that you can do besides that. If you can help move policy in a good way, then help do that. And it could be the curriculum, the funding for this, for since time immemorial. We know it's a mandate, but we aren't teaching these in our schools yet. The curriculum isn't just for the indigenous children. It's for everybody. It's for everybody to learn. This is what we didn't learn in school, what I didn't learn in school. I'm still learning. I'm still learning about our history, the federal Indian policies. We have to do better because we know more. As we stand here for the 215 children and now another 104, what can we do more? We need to find all of our children and bring them all home because we love them. We honor them, the life, the sacrifices that they gave. Just like we would do with MIA or POW. Just like we would do for them, we need to do for our children. Two people that will fight for this country. First are Native Americans and a veteran. We know we will die for this country because it's the motherland. She takes care of us and we must take care of her. I want to thank you for this time today in this gathering, the circle of strength, to stand with another, support one another, to help one another, to help us grieve, to help us take care of this. We must step forward. So thank you. Thank you, grandmothers. Thank you, Lummi Nation, Children of the Setting Sun, Lactamish Foundation, and all of our friends and relatives and our partners, especially our traditional teachers of song and dance. Haishka Siam Nisjala Jasiam. Thank you.
Alsiam Kwanstanat, thank you so much for those words, lifting our spirits and being aware of the issues related to all of this policy. That's one of the things that we don't think about. We hear about the hurt and the pain that our communities are going through, but this is actually rules, guidelines and laws that were put in place that have created this. And so we need to, unpack that. That there's a history there, but it's also moving forward. What do we do to change this injustice? And I'll just add to that Canada is doing a lot more than what's happening here in the United States. We're silent here. Where are our so-called elected leaders speaking on this? So thank you for raising that. Again, we wanted to remind folks that we're praying with the home community. They're praying at the same time right now, and we may be getting word from them when they're done with their prayer circle, and hopefully hear a few words from her, from the home community. And we want to bring forward Kat Lacut to share a song for us.
Want to, excuse me. I want to sing "Wind Beneath My Wings." I always halfway sing this for my father, who was in World War II as a waist gunner on a B-17. He had a lot of divine intervention during his trials, and I'm really proud of who he was. It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. But you were content to let me shine. That's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. And I could fly higher than an eagle are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did I ever tell you you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. And I could fly higher than an eagle. For you are the wind beneath my wings. All the wind beneath my wings. I fly high, fly high against the sky. So high I almost touch the stars. Thank you, thank you. Thank God for you, the wind beneath my wings.
I think we should give her a big round of applause for that. And not only for Emily, but also her backup singers, which I don't know if you all heard the Eagles started singing with her. Wow, that's a great connection there. I believe we're going to bring forward Candy Jefferson to say a few words, to offer a prayer.
Morning. Just want to thank you all for being here for this occasion, which is heavy on all our hearts, so it's hard. But I was going to say a prayer that I kind of put together, so bear with me. Eternal Father, you created us in your own image and likeness, but sin has warped the mind of men, and throughout the world there is much injustice and much carelessness of the right of other people and personal responsibility. Lord, when you are excluded from the hearts and consciousness of men, the inevitable result is that people suffer. And this is what happened to our native people. We have suffered. And Lord, there is much injustice and corruption that took place, and it has continued to cause much suffering for generations. We pray, Lord, that you will right all the wrongs that took place and that take place in our world and vindicate those that have been treated and still being treated unjustly. Lord, we pray today for those who have died because of violence and terrorism. Draw them to yourself and let your face shine upon them. We pray that you greeted them with choirs of angels and experienced your eternal peace and joy. Be near to all of us who have been touched by violence, those who have been hurt, lost their loved ones, or lost their sense of security. Be for them a steady comfort and safe resting place. Soften the hearts and steady the minds of those who would do violence to others. May hate be replaced with love, violence with peace, and darkness with light. Amen. Let's go.
Alciam, thank you, Candy. Beautiful prayer. And as we mentioned, we're praying with the Shuswap family up north. And we've opened the door for this prayer in this circle. We started this prayer circle now, and it doesn't end when this is all done. You know, take these prayers with you when you go home. Pray for the rest of the day. Pray for these folks who are stepping forward to speak and share these songs, because they're the ones that are carrying the words and the songs for our communities right now. And that's what we're praying about, our young ones who didn't get a chance to do that. And so continue to pray. And tomorrow, if you can join us, we'll be doing a day of prayer over here at the tents. At this time, we want to bring forward our relatives, Shirley Bob and the Bob family, to share a few words in song. Ayaltsa. Ayaltsa. Hayaltsa. Hayaltsa.
Ossiam, relatives all. First of all, I just want to take this time to thank each of you for being here, for bringing your strong hearts and your strong minds, for bringing your prayer, joining together. A continuous prayer we try to keep in our hearts and our minds for our relatives, for the young children throughout Indian country who are now our ancestors. We consider them our ancestors because they passed before us. We're going to offer up a couple songs and prayer. Thank you for having us and turning to us. It's an honor to be here and to be a part. Speaking on behalf of my mother and my siblings, our family. Hajka. Just a little explanation behind that song. Our late brother was walking on the beach and going through a really rough time in his life. Not wanting to be around anymore. Feeling like he was no good to anybody. And the song came to him. And it started uplifting him and changing his train of thought, changing his heart and his mind. This is the power that we have with these songs. It's not just music. It's something that we feel, something that we live, something that touches us deep down in our hearts, in our minds, in our spirits. We're going to offer up another song. once again for having us here and for being here and bringing your strong hearts and your strong minds. Osiam Haichka.
I'll let you know in a second.
Yeah, I'll hold it up against.
It's not on speaker.
It's just the little-
Well, that's it.
Okay.
Osiam. Raising our hands to the Bob family for those beautiful songs, carrying those songs. Takes a lot to carry those songs for a community and be responsible for them. So we're just thanking you for stepping forward and sharing that and praying, sharing those tears. We're praying together. We're one family. We're praying with our relatives up in Kamloops, the Shuswap. And we have our relative, the chief from up there, that's going to share a few words now. We have him on the phone. And so I'm asking for you to pray hard for this community. You're good to go.
Hello everyone, Kalmuk's Quest, Wanokina Del Cookpiece Bellatina. My Indian name is Big Voice that Speaks the Truth. I'm one of the chiefs of the Soquap Nation community of Splatsin. I'm also one of the tribal chiefs of the Soquap Nation. I want to say that the gratitude and love and support you're showing us, the songs and ceremonies are really important at this time. Those 215 babies and little ones that showed themselves to the world, how important it is that we do what we need to do with each other and help each other at this time. So, Kukpi Cliff Arnoos of the Hostelna or the Adams Lake, for many of you that know about fish, is the Adams Lake River and that whole process. He's one of the chiefs along that river. And they're doing a walk today, walking their spirits home from the residential school all the way to their community over the next 3 days. And so we ask that you pray with us and find a way and all the things that the Kamloops here, Cookby, Rosanna, and their community needs here come to them to help us with the 215 plus missing. So it's an important time for all Indigenous people throughout the world, for it shows to the world how our people were treated. I want to honor in your nations those of you that are survivors of boarding school, the residential school, for the pain and suffering you endured. And I thank you for your courage to continue to step forward. So we ask for those prayers in a good way to clear that path for these little ones to return home in whatever direction they come from. We've opened up the door yesterday in ceremony, and we ask we continue to pray over this period of time to call those spirits home, back to their homeland, so they can be properly put to rest. Where they're sitting in that world in between right now, they have been for many, many years. And so they showed themselves for us to do that work. As our old people tell us, that we're in that time where there's a great river flowing very swiftly. We're afraid to go into it, but we must push out into the middle of that river. And look around, keep your head up and see who's with you and celebrate. The time of the lone wolf is over. Everything we do at this time, we must do in a sacred manner and a spiritual way to help each other at this time, for we are one family all over Turtle Island. So again, I ask and thank and bless each and every one of you for coming out, the songs that you're sharing, the Kwakochin, the prayers that you're sharing for our people here in the Kamloops, and all the survivors, because the survivors are all over North America. These children have woken up, everyone, to the facts, the real facts about this country and how it comes to be. So again, I thank you for this opportunity, and I know that down the road our paths will cross. And each and every one of you that have said blessings and put down tobacco and in your own way prayed. I really, really appreciate. Prayers are powerful. They work. They create miracles. So let's pray for these little ones to return them home. And I thank you again, Kuksham, Kukwachuswan Kasalt, and I thank you all on behalf of Kukpi Cliff for the support and prayers, on behalf of Kukpi Roseanne for the support and prayers, and on behalf of all the survivors of the Sukhop Nation and all nations at this time. Kuksham.
Ostiam, let's send our prayers through our hands and cheer for them over there so he can hear you. Let's put our hands together so he can hear you. Hit your drums. We want to raise our hands to our relatives up north for checking in with us, taking a little bit of time and sharing words of hope and lifting our spirits and sending the message that giving us a little bit more information of what's going on, that they opened the door yesterday and our orders are set before us. As I mentioned, pray for the rest of this day, but pray for the next 3 days as we're taking care of our relatives. That door is going to be open for the next 3 days. And we need to take care of those young ones. It's a sensitive time. Take care of yourselves. Take time to pray and spend some quiet time thinking about all of this. We're going to bring forward one of our young relatives, Manaslat, to say a few words and her young one here.
Aitzkuchil, good morning. Thank you for calling on me to speak. I always think of, you're where you're meant to be. I was called upon to be here today and just to come witness the work that was happening, and I'm really grateful that I was led here and thankful to be called upon. Haishka. My name is Manaslat. My second traditional name is Satiaya. My government name is Sarah Gray. I am a member of the Lummi Nation. My maternal grandparents are Sam Kagi Jr. and the late Wendy Kagi. My paternal grandparents are the late Sarah Scott and Leroy Scott Sr. Parents are Laura Porter and Leroy Scott. I think coming here after learning about the 215 children, we've always known the truth. We've always stood by our truth. We stood by what happened, and we kept speaking on it. We kept sharing it. We kept advocating. We know of all of the horrors that our people endured. We know, our children even know, that trauma, it does live inside us. But one of my favorite quotes it's not just the trauma that lives within us, it's also the resilience that lives within us. It's the hope and it's the healing that we have passed on. Now I think about our kids now. As a mother myself, I have 2 babies. Knowing that, we're going to be breaking these intergenerational curses that would force upon us through colonization. Knowing I'm going to raise my kids speaking so much love into her, so much light into her, making it so she never has to question herself, knowing that she never has to doubt the power she has within herself, knowing that she's never going to experience what our grandmothers had to experience, what our grandfathers had to experience. And I think, we look at ourselves as Homo people. Our existence is powerful. Our existence is a miracle, knowing everything we've had endured since first contact, since that very first meeting, how much we've had to experience. And now we look at ourselves, not just our kids, but look at ourselves as Hmong people and how powerful you are, how connected we are, and how beautiful it is to be a part of something, a culture that they work so hard to exterminate. And here we are now. We're still revitalizing it. We're still connecting with it. They did everything in their power, and I'm so grateful to our ancestors, to our family, to our grandparents, our great-grandparents, and our great-great-grandparents for fighting so hard, running to the bush to hide, to practice their culture, running to do whatever they could to protect their kids, hiding them in the attics, hiding them wherever they could, run, hide, just so we could protect who we are as Hmong people, knowing that we have all the tools we need to take care of ourselves. And so when I look at our kids, I want to speak that into them. You are so beautiful and you're so powerful, and I'm so grateful for you, Salem. And just knowing that I have so much hope moving forward. And I'm so emotional because I think of our family up north, how that must feel. And knowing that we had 14 residential schools here in Washington State, and all of them need to be searched. All of our kids need to be returned. They would have been our grandparents, our great-grandparents. They would have been our aunts, our uncles. They would have been sitting with us, and they're not, and we need to search for them, and we need to advocate for them, and we need to bring them home. And so with that, I just want to thank you for calling upon me. All right, Haishka.
Ocean, powerful words. Sarah, thank you so much for bringing it forward. This time we're going to turn the microphone over to Penny Carroll. Clatisa what? Clatisa what?
This is going to be difficult. And it's difficult because where are the true warriors? And one thing that I did this morning is I asked my late mother, help me. Help me. I called upon my ancestors. And then the message came and it says we cannot have God in our lives if you have hate. And I'm human and I am angry. But I got to remember God is a loving God. In the 11th hour, he said, forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they're doing. He was dying on the cross. And so I was asking, and it was so beautiful to hear my cousins. Because everybody's carrying a cross. Our people are carrying a cross. And their hearts are heavy. Their struggle every day with some of our people. Mothers worrying about their children. Grandmothers worried about their grandchildren. And so I was asking, and I can still see, my ancestors and how they prayed. And I called up my cousin Emily, and I go, will you sing a song? Because I wanted to hear You Are My Hero. Because those grandmothers and mothers that are survivors of the residential schools, they still have love in their heart. They're still loving. You can see it on Facebook. They're not protesting. They're not hating. They're not blaming. They're praying for those people. I'm so fortunate. I only can share what was taught to me and how to pray. And if I see, who has God in you. Do you have God in you? Because God is love and love is God. And so I just think about my late mother who fought in the 60s to have the state welfare office off this reservation to quit stealing our kids. And it brings up those emotions because my cousins were taken away. My mom didn't hate, she prayed. And so I'm so fortunate to have used that saying. And I know that you guys are carrying a cross. I know how difficult it must be for you. You're teaching me. You're teaching me at my trying times to look to God. And you know, just like the fish, they always return home. Our babies returned home, and we got to welcome them home in a good way. And always keep love in your heart. Show love. We don't love enough. We always walk around with the frown on our face. And that frown, that person that you're looking at, might be carrying a heavy cross. So I love each and every one of you, all those that answered the call to come out and share your song and your prayers. Because we have children in the welfare system that want to come home, wondering if anybody's thinking about them. We had a young boy who came and visited his grandpa and his mom. He wanted to come home, but he hung himself because we weren't allowing him to come home. I have to tell you the truth. I have to tell you the truth of my auntie, and said that they're going to wait until I die before they bring my grandkids home. We got to act now for our children. Not tomorrow, but now. Let's clean up our reservation. Let's make sure no child gets left without nurturing and love. There's a lot of them out there. You drive by them on the road. Acknowledge that addict. Acknowledge that poor person. Acknowledge them, because you might be the one that's going to save their lives. I tried to call my relatives up in Canada this morning, but they must be all in prayer. But I look to my relatives up there and ask them when I'm having a hard time and wondering why the world is the way it is, and why there's so much hate, and why we allow it. There's so much hate and judgment in this world. And so I'm so grateful that you came, because you're feeling me. You're helping me to be a stronger person by your songs and prayers and your presence. So I thank you, Auntie, my relatives. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to go home and I'm going to share with my grandkids. Haishka.
Oh, Siam, thank you. Penny Carroll, sharing those good words, sending the message. We are praying. We're filling ourselves with hope today. We're let these songs and words and prayers make you feel good. But don't just take, just as my cousin said, go home and talk to your children, your grandchildren, talk to your neighbors. Tell them that you spoke with someone from the community today, directly from the home community where these children come from, and tell them the story of what he shared, of what they're doing right now. Let your friends and relatives know that we're in prayer for the next 3 days, that we're taking care of this work. Again, we want to remind folks that we have these ribbons over here. Don't leave without signing one, because we want to have a ribbon for each and every one of these children, these 215 and now these 104 that we just learned about today. So sign one of these ribbons, and we're planting trees. Our partner is planting trees in their memory, and that their spirits will grow through this healing forest. And we'll have prayer tomorrow here at Lummi Nation all day, of the tents back here. And we're gonna share a little meal afterwards. We're gonna have some food. Not back here. They say that when the tide is out, the table's set. So you can just go down here and full buffet down here, Daryl. And then if you don't want that, you can come over here to the vans, get a sandwich. So at this time, we're gonna call forward Crab Bay, Sam Kagi, to come forward. Our relative, share a closing prayer song and share a table song so we can open up the food. We want to say thank you for being here today and appreciate your time. That's one of the biggest gifts we can give is our time. So thank you.
Sam, Skalnoch, my good people, we're all here for one reason, is to pray for those children that want to go home. And there's many more. I hope the government lets the rest of the residential schools let the people, the families bring their children home, their grandfathers, their grandmothers home. This is touching. Few nights I couldn't get no sleep because I was thinking about those babies. We talk about the residential schools. I got the last of that kind of treatment right here in Bellingham at that Assumption School. We were the wrong color skin. But you know, you think about it, we're all still here. My people are still here, they're alive and well. The song I'm going to sing is a prayer song. I took it from the Shut Up and turned it into, well, most of them are all original songs anyway. Are you listening? Are you listening to our prayers, Jesus? Mercy high, mercy high. Next one is prayer. Another prayer song was given to us by our grandaunt. It talks about somebody great up there. Our people weren't left out. We're not heathens. We're not pagans. Just because we danced around the fire. We sang and we made joyous noise unto the Spirit. Yes,
I'll say I'm raising our hands for Crab Bay family for sharing those songs, powerful prayers. We're praying. We're one family. We're lifting our spirits. And these, pray for the ones again. Pray for the ones that came up here to speak and share prayers and songs, because they're not coming up here just to sing. They're praying to lift the spirit, praying for healing for those communities. And again, we want to invite everyone for a little bit of food over here. Maybe somebody can sing a table song over there. And we'll have a day of prayer tomorrow. And we have these ribbons that we're asking you to sign. Pray for the next 3 days for our relatives up at the Shuswap nations. And also pray for our relatives in Edmonton who are now beginning this work, who are in shock right now as they learn of the 104 children that are found there. So pray for that community as they're just now beginning this work. Our work here is done, so we raise our hands to you, just thanking you for being here, spending a little bit of time. And please, we have some food for you. We made food for you. So our elders are first, and our guests are second. So just follow our elders right in line. They'll show you right where the food is. Our work is not done. It's just beginning. We're continuing the work. So please pray for the next 3 days. I'll see you.